Hello, welcome back to Hunter Tune. Today I'm going to be dyno tuning this EK coupe, and it has a built-up D16Z6, a 1320 top mount manifold, a max PP poo-poo turbo, but it's like the typical run-of-the-mill 50 trim or whatever, 57 trim that you see on eBay. It's a T3 size turbo. He has a full 3-inch exhaust, tile, V-band wastegate down there. It has a Brian Crower stage 2 camshaft, and it's a full Z6 top to bottom. He said he port matched everything. It has a set of the Hunter Tune flex fuel injectors, Speed Factory 4-bar map sensor, Skunk 2 radiator, Skunk 2 intake manifold, HKS blow-off valve. It's got a Skunk 2 oil catch can with the bungs on the valve cover there. It has a competition stage 4 clutch. I don't know exactly what intercooler is on it, but it looks pretty decent. And all I gotta say is this is probably one of the nicest single cams to come into the shop. This thing is fully prepped, ready to go for some tuning. So we're gonna be spending some time tuning this thing and getting her dialed in. It also has a Mac 4-port solenoid already plumbed in for the boost controller, so he has that all done. I double checked all of it. It seems pretty good. We're just going to go through and check all the fluids, which I checked the coolant. It's full. Oil is good. We really don't got nothing to worry about with this thing. He did have the cam gear set at like -4. I put it at 0 just because I always start at 0 no matter what cam companies tell you. With this gear and this head, with this block and blah blah blah, I just start at 0 on the cam gear no matter what, and I'll shift it depending on where the power curve wants to be and stuff like that. I'll shift it and move it around where I think the power curve should be or what this guy wants out of this car. So like I said, I always start at 0, so I moved the cam gear back to 0. Like I said, this car is a Hondata S300. I don't really know what else to say other than like the attention to detail on this thing is awesome. This guy did a really good job on this thing, and I can't wait to see what kind of power we make with it. I'm hoping it makes some pretty good power. I think the only thing that's going to really hold us back is the turbo. But like just little stuff like that blue coupler right there is not a coupler. It's literally just to make sure the pipe doesn't rub on that mount, which is a common spot on these cars. That piping will actually rub on the mount, and you'll wear a hole in the piping. But just putting like a slit of a coupler over that, just little stuff like that is like, man, that's awesome. So super cool setup, guys. So I have been very busy lately doing tuning. Today I actually finished up red Integra. You guys probably saw on the channel, it was kind of a really lazy setup. It didn't really make a lot of good power. It just spooled really crappy. It just didn't really make that good of power. That red Integra came back from Team Defiant, my buddy Guile over there. He brought that Integra back because we actually found an exhaust leak at the turbo to the manifold on that car, and we fixed it, and it made way better power, spooled way faster, and completely ran out of fuel system. And we did nothing other than fix the exhaust leak. So he fixed the exhaust leak, brought it back, we tuned it, it made 370 horsepower on like 12 or 13 pounds of boost. I didn't film much with it, so I apologize, but I wanted to let you guys know that that red Integra made great power, and we had to swap the fuel pump on the dyno because it was completely out of fuel pump. And it had one of the Walbro 255s, and it couldn't even do 370 horsepower on pump gas. So if that just says anything about those Walbro 255s, I don't tell anybody to buy those things anymore because half of them are junk, half of them work. If you have a Walbro 255 from like 10 years ago, they're great. But the new ones, they're junk. So I don't know what pump is in this little single cam. Might be a 255. I hope it holds up, but we'll find out. And then in the meantime, after that red Integra, Guile brought his sedan. I think we had tuned that previously, and it was boost creeping really bad. And he switched his setup over to a top mount, and now we have perfect boost control. And this thing on 20 pounds of boost made 523 horsepower. That's the sedan. I might throw a little video of that thing in here real quick. but I mean, look at the torque, guys. Like, just super fat torque. 5K all the way to 9K. Just tons of power. And it made boost really good. And, you know, boost creep, you gotta have boost control to have a good torque curve. And that car finally, you know, after switching to the top mount, it ended up working out really well. So, but anyways, we're gonna start tuning this thing. I might make 2 videos on it. We're gonna tune it on pump gas. And then we're also going to do a tune with flex fuel. So this car has a flex fuel sensor plumbed into the return line, and we can add E85, and the ECU will actually know how much percentage of alcohol is in the fuel. And that will tell us how much more timing we can give it, and we can tune it more aggressively once the computer sees ethanol content. So, but like I said, we got to get a base tune on it first. We're going to tune it on pump gas today and kind of see what it does. And then probably the next video, I'll be pouring some E85 in it, and then we'll do some flex fuel tuning and see what it makes on E85. This guy's goal, he wants to make 400. It's a little lofty on a single cam, but we're going to see what we can do. I'd love to see 400 as well out of this thing. But like I said, the turbo might be a little bit of a limiting factor, but everything else should do it, really, I hope. Especially because this thing's a Z6, everything's ported. Man, it should be a ripper. So I'm gonna get everything set up with this thing. I'm gonna set the ignition timing first, and then we'll pull the Hondata up, and we'll start doing some drivability tuning and see where it goes from there. All right, guys, I got this little single cam up and idling pretty good. This Brian Crower Stage 2 cam is actually a little bit picky. There's a very fine line of like where you can have your fuel set and where it just completely wants to shut off. Just the way that the cam overlap and stuff is on this thing, the Crower Stage 2, there's actually guys on forums and stuff I was looking up, and some guys are having like 30% more or less fuel at idle compared to right off idle. And that's kind of how this thing's acting too. But I did a little bit of tricks in the tune, and I got this thing chopping. It's running really good, and it comes right back down to idle. Before, I was starting this car up and I was trying to get it to idle smooth, and it would just quit, it would die. But now, did some Hunter tuning. Right back down to idle, baby. Just listen to that thing chop away. Oh, now you're gonna be gay. Like I said, there's a fine line. Been playing with some timing values at idle and fuel values at idle to get it to chop. But as it just sits here and heat soaks, fuel and stuff does change a little bit. But yeah, now it's coming back down to the chop. So I'm running it a little leaner at idle, like a 15.5. And my timing map goes 12 to 24, so it kind of bounces back and forth a little bit, but it gives it that chop. And I have the throttle body actually cranked up quite a bit. If I ran, you know, say 20 degrees or 18 degrees of timing at idle with a 13 air fuel, the idle was actually like 1600 RPM. But to get it to lope like this and to get it to come back down to idle good and everything like that, I use timing to pull back the idle speed. So I usually idle them high on the throttle body, set it manually, idle it high, and then after that come on the tune and play with the timing to get it to where you want it, and play with fuel as well. I actually have fuel kind of going like this at idle just to kind of get it to chop a little bit. So should be pretty cool. But we're gonna start doing some drivability tuning now and getting that stuff lined out, and we'll probably do a little bit of low boost hits. So yeah. All right, guys, just doing a little drivability tuning with this thing, and now we're gonna do some low boost pulls on pump gas. I got the timing map set up, and it should be good to go. I think on low boost with the solenoid maximum at 100, we're running about like 5 pounds or 6 pounds of boost. So we're gonna see what she does, and I'm gonna make sure VTEC is working, because I did get a VTEC spool error code that came up when I tried to do my last pull. So we'll see what she does. So the first run that I did, I had VTEC enabled, and then I disabled it to make sure that it's making a difference, because like I said, we got that VTEC spool error for some reason. It doesn't look like it's doing anything, to be honest. I'm gonna zoom in here on the area between 4,500 and 5K. So this is the run I just did. I ran it to like 5,500. VTEC is at 45, and you can see it literally made 0 change going between the two. So it did make 181 horsepower without VTEC, so that's a good start. We gotta fix the VTEC though. What the heck? So I'm gonna check out the ECU wiring to make sure the ECU actually has VTEC, and then we'll just probably bypass the pressure switch. How I normally do these things is I run A4, the pin A4 and pin D6, tie them together, run one single wire out to the solenoid, and that's it. And if that doesn't fix it, we'll have to see if there's something else going on. Alrighty guys, so I just got VTEC rewired. I actually put the solenoid to the battery positive. It is clicking, so if this doesn't work, then it's either plugged, the solenoid's plugged, or we don't got oil pressure to the head, or the ECU is bad. So let's just cross our fingers and hope this works. Let's get it. Good looking car and really well put together car without something going wrong, right? We made 181 horsepower. I don't think VTEC's working at all. I'm gonna do another run just to verify. I'm gonna turn the VTEC completely off, but it gave me the VTEC spool code again. So I think that's telling me something in the ECU is bad, to be honest. So we'll see what I can do. Got the fuel draining out of this thing. I'm gonna put some E85 in and start doing the flex tuning. Had some VTEC issues. The ECU is causing issues for some reason. We plugged in my buddy's ECU earlier today, and VTEC was shutting the car off when we enabled it. And I did it with his ECU and it wasn't doing that. So put 2 and 2 together. ECU for some reason is having issues, I don't know why. And then I put a relay, and I'm using the air conditioning clutch output on the ECU to trigger a relay to send 12 volts to the VTEC solenoid now. So VTEC's working. Got the curve a lot smoother on low boost. Made 6 pounds and 188 horsepower. I didn't really spend a lot of time tuning the pump gas side because we're going to be running E85 where we can actually safely turn this thing up. So once we get the E85 in, I'll pick up the guys in a minute and we'll see what kind of differences it's going to make. Whapped 35% fuel at it. We got E62% ethanol. We got 62% E85 in it right now. 35% was like right on the money. And voila, made 201 horsepower on the same exact boost level. Literally just pouring E85 in. We picked up like from our best run previously, 186 to 201. Literally changing nothing else. I didn't add timing, I didn't do shit. 201 horsepower. Not bad. Let's crank this thing up. All right, guys. We have, I think I was saying, we have like 63% ethanol in this thing. I set up the flex fuel tables, and immediately this thing ran way better. E85 and motors just go together, guys. It's just like, you could tell just like how much crisper it ran. It just runs way better with ethanol in it. But so far, this thing's making some really good power, guys. Just pouring the E85 in, we went from 186 to 201. No other change, no added timing, nothing. And I immediately went to just adding a little bit of boost to it. And from 6 pounds to 8 pounds, we went from 201 to 220. These are, don't mind these runs, but we went from 6 up here. There's a run up here that you can't see, that was 201. I'll scroll up, just so you'll fucking believe me. That run was on 6 pounds. This run was on 8 pounds. This run was on 11. So 11 pounds of boost, and it's making 253. The air fuel in the fuel map is set up perfectly. Like, I'm just adding boost, and the air fuel is like, poof, right on the money. 1170, 11.8 air fuel. We might richen it up past like 15 pounds or so, but I want to see where this thing's going to crack 300 wheel. I think it's going to crack 300 wheel right around like 14 or 15 pounds of boost. So once we crack that, we'll probably richen it up a little bit, going upwards of 20 pounds or so. And we'll see how much power we can make with this thing, guys. I'm going to show you the flex fuel tables quick that I've been doing. The only thing is I got to figure out how to do the boost. So currently I'm setting up the pressure versus duty cycle table, so we can just type in a boost level per gear or whatever. And I'm just doing fixed duty cycle to see what duty cycle is what boost. And currently we have 40% duty cycle is 11 pounds, 30% is 8 pounds, and 20% is 6 pounds. So if we go to our flex table right here, this is how I have it set up currently. I'm gonna set up for a little bit less ethanol here in a second. So like I'll probably do like 30% where 15 is, and then where 0 is, I'll probably do like 20. And I'll set up the table that way. But this setting right here seems to be right on the money where the pump gas tune was. 50% ethanol, 35% fuel. 75% ethanol, 40, 90, 45, 150. So this seems to be working really good. And another trick too, because E85 isn't always going to want 40% fuel everywhere on the map. Typically it's only going to want it when the engine's, you know, desiring fuel, so like in boost and wide open throttle, and when you're giving it gas, it's going to want that 40% or whatever that I'm implementing into the table. But what I did on the pump gas tune is I put the cruising and the idle area richer. So when we pour E85 in, it runs right on the money with E85. But with pump gas, it's going to run richer at idle and richer at cruise, using the algorithm, you know, the setup that Hondata gives you. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you like RPM-based ethanol percentage compensation tables. It just gives you an overall. So that's how I did it, and it seems to be working very good. The cruising on this thing with pump gas is like 12.8, 13.0 air fuel, and idle is like the same. And now with E85 in it, it's lean at idle and it's 14.7, 15.0 cruising. So can't get much better than that, in my opinion. I haven't added any ignition timing yet, and I'm not going to, just because it's a single cam and I don't really care to splash ignition in it. I might, just to play around, but the one thing I have to figure out yet is the ethanol boost compensation table. So there's a boost compensation table, and when I add to that percentage, boost low and high right there, I figured when it saw more ethanol, it would add duty cycle to the boost controller, but I don't think that's how this is working. So I gotta figure that out, and I'll probably let you guys know that in a bit, because we can't have our gear-based duty cycle tables and stuff set up when pump gas is in the car, because I don't want this thing running a lot of boost on pump gas. I want it to only run the boost controller when there's an E85 present, if that makes sense. So next run, we're gonna do 45% duty cycle. The last run that made 253 or whatever was 40%. So we're gonna do 45% duty, hopefully make like 14 pounds or 15 pounds. We'll see what kind of power it makes. So 50% duty made like 13.5 pounds, not quite 14. And then I went right to 55 and it made 17.5 pounds of boost. So we made 313 on 17.5 pounds, only 10 degrees of timing, mind you. And on like 13.5 pounds, it made 287. So we are running into a little bit of a choke point, I think, here somewhere, where I think it's pulling too much timing. So this is the thing, when you run more boost, you don't necessarily always have to keep pulling timing, because once you get to like 10 degrees of timing, the engine becomes super inefficient. So I usually never run anything less than like 10 degrees of timing in any circumstance, because it'll start doing stuff like this where you're pulling too much as you go up. So I might do that same exact run with an additional 2 degrees and see what it makes on that 17 pounds or whatever, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, this thing's doing really good. I did splash 2 degrees of timing in it overall to see if it would pick up anywhere, and it did not. So that just it goes to show that single cams just don't like timing. They don't. I don't know why. They kind of suck, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So these are the 2 runs. literally backed up. Same exact pull. I spun this one a little bit higher in the RPM, and it was still gaining power, but you can see it overlaid everywhere, which means that the timing, literally, it didn't do anything. So this thing's actually got a really nice power curve for a little single cam. 4,500 to 7, I could probably go 7,500 and it keep making power. Currently we're making 325 horsepower on 17.5 pounds of boost. So that Crower Stage 2 cam works pretty good. Here's the, there's the pudding. 325, that's 17.5 pounds. I'm gonna keep going up from here, guys, because it's responding still. Give it a little bit more duty cycle on the boost controller. And we also might try to eliminate this filter to see if that's any sort of restriction. But we're gonna see what kind of power we can make with the filter. That was 20 pounds of boost right on the nuts. See what it did. 356. Yeah. So green to purple is what we just did. You can see it's kind of, it goes a little flat right here for some reason. I don't know why that is. But 356 isn't too bad. I think I'm going to do a pull now with the air filter off and see if that makes a difference. Alright guys, I just removed this filter that was on the turbo. I'm going to see what it does to the power curve, and I want to see, I'm going to be keeping an eye on air fuel to make sure it's not going to go really lean. But if it does go really lean, that thing's a huge restriction. So we're just going to be watching to see how much that's really restricting, if it's restricting at all. This turbo is only rated for 20 pounds, and on 20 pounds we're making 356, which really isn't that bad for a little single cam. So let's just see how it does on 20 pounds with the filter removed, and yeah, maybe learn something. I do think this turbo might be running out, just by the way that the power curve looks. Like the turbo is just getting a little you know. Well, we'll find out. So still made 20 pounds, pretty much the same amount of boost, and it virtually did the same exact power. So I don't think that little filter thing is too much of a restriction. Made 352. So the green and the purple are the differences. So really no change. I'm gonna put the filter probably back on. And there was an instance where the car was running kind of like weird. I think this ECU has more issues than I think. The VTEC wasn't working, and the soldering on that ECU was really shitty. And it's acting like sometimes, like I thought the wideband sensor went out because it was just reading lean the whole time, and it was bucking and jerking and stuff. And like once in a while it'll get when I'll just be cruising randomly and it'll just buck, like it'll jerk. And I'm like, oh, am I losing TPS? What am I doing here? What's losing sync? and when that happens, the injector just goes to nothing. The injector milliseconds just goes to 0. So I don't know what's causing that, an injector driver or something in the computer. We still have some injector left to go, so I'm going to turn it up a little more and see if we can run maybe 24 pounds. I don't know, let's send it. So I gave it 3% duty. It only picked up like a pound and a half of boost. Did not really respond that well. 364 we made. I'm gonna give it another 2, see if the turbo will keep going or not. The turbo might be kind of at its cap. We're gonna see what she does though. I gave it another few percent of duty. I think we're at 58% duty cycle. It made 25 pounds on the nuts. Oh yeah, she's making good power, guys. 387 on 25 pounds. It's just got this lull in the middle. I don't know why. It's bugging me. I feel like that's just kind of the nature of the turbo that is on this thing. I don't know. Let's try to crack 400, guys. I think one more on like, well, we're at 58% duty right now. If we go to 60, that should get us like 27 pounds, I'm hoping. And we only need 13 horsepower. So let's try it. Let's just try it. I'm gonna show you guys the data logs when we're done, but I'm gonna just give it one more pull and let's hope we can hit 400. So I'm just going up in 2% increments. I went from 58% duty to 60% duty cycle, and I think we made 400 horse, guys. Oh, are you fucking me? This is not even planned. Not even planned. Are you fucking me? Sorry for the language. Come on. Come on. Really? I can't believe how good this thing runs, guys. Nothing is in the overflow. The head gasket's holding in really well. This little max PP poo-poo turbo is working pretty decently, to be honest. Obviously, if it was a billet turbo or something like that, it'd probably make more power than it is now, but this Crowler Stage 2, 100-tune flex fuel injectors, 1320 top mount manifold, open 3-inch exhaust. I think earlier in the video I said I had a full exhaust. I was lying, it's open downpipe. Yeah, guys, 26 pounds of boost made 399. I'm going to give it 1% duty to crack that 400. This guy wants to make 400 horse. I'm gonna make it happen. 399 ain't gonna cut it. Yeah, put even more duty cycle in it. It didn't pick up much boost. This turbo's done. But it made 405 to the tire. 405 horse. That was on 27 pounds. So we're kind of pulling teeth here. I mean, going from 26 to 27, we only picked up 5 horsepower, but I mean, damn. We got it. 400 wheel single cam, and this is all the progressions throughout the day. Damn. That was cool, guys. I'm gonna get this thing ironed out. I don't know if you noticed, but during this clip, I couldn't get the thing to run good. I shook the ECU, reset my laptop, ran perfect. So I think this guy needs to get a new ECU, for sure. I think that ECU has more issues than just the VTEC issue that we were dealing with. But I made it happen. I put a relay in to make the VTEC work off of a relay, because the ECU had issues, and now I think there's like some sort of injector driver issue maybe, or something like that going on with it. Because sometimes it literally runs so bad I can't even drive it. It's like, and then I shut it off, shake the ECU, reset my laptop, boom, runs perfect. No changes to the tune or anything. So, but hell yeah, brother, guys, this thing is ripping. 405 horsepower out of a D16. 27 pounds of boost. Probably a $100 turbo. It got it done. What a ripper. Hell yeah. I'm excited. That was fun. Hopefully the guy enjoys it. 360 foot-pounds of torque. Holy shit. That's one thing about a single cam, guys, is they do make good torque. Once the turbo lights, they work. But it's tough to get them to spin a turbo. That's the issue. So you can't really go with anything bigger than what's on here. You can go with like a 58, 55 from huntertune.com, and that would get you probably 450 to the wheels, where this one's kind of capped at like 400. But once you go past that, they're so lazy and they don't spool up. But this thing, set up good, man. I like it. We got the flex fuel tuning done. I'll show you the logs here in a second, as long as this video is not like 4 hours long. But woo, I'm happy. That was awesome. Yeah. Yeah, the car makes really good power, guys, but there's still an issue going on. I'm not changing anything on the tune. I can barely drive this thing. It's just bucking, it's super lean. Look at it, I can't even get it to, it's just bucking back and forth. I can't even get it to register air fuel. Like it shoots, I don't know, dude. This ECU's got issues. I'll throw up a picture of what the solder joints look like on it. And I'm feeling like that's probably the culprit. It's just bucking like crazy right now. I'm gonna try to key flip it and see if it fixes it. Nope. So I'm gonna jiggle the ECU. No, still nothing. Shut it off. Try to turn it back on. Yeah, it's like got a really delayed pedal too. Like, it's either a TPS issue or an ECU, but I'm almost positive it's the ECU causing these issues. I'm waiting for it to come back. I had to do this a couple times on the dyno just to get it to like start working right. Moved. It might be in the jumper harness. That's hard to say, guys. I don't know. It seems like it's ECU. It might be jumper harness. I don't know. Maybe he just needs to tuck the ECU and jumper harness in a certain spot and not touch it. That's kind of sometimes what you do with Hondas, you know what I mean? But yeah, like look at the idle. It's perfect now. And I did nothing. I changed nothing other than moving the ECU. There's that. Yeah, it's running flawless. see if it'll fire back up and do the same thing here. Running perfect. Maybe with the jumper harness or the ECU itself, but still had it in gear. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Let's look at the data logs on this thing. Honestly, like 26.5 pounds of boost. Come on, 26.5, 11.6 air fuel. Look at that air fuel, guys. Super fucking awesome. It does go 12.0 at one point while it's still spooling up, but man, that air fuel is flat as a board. Let her eat. So, have a great night and a better tomorrow, guys. We'll see you later.